Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're here for your morning drive. I am Logan Lewis. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. We're recording today's episode from 216 Co-working, which is located in downtown Cartersville. 216 offers private offices, team suites, and meeting rooms built for professionals, remote workers, and growing teams. It's got 24/7 access, high-speed internet, and furnished spaces, so it's a perfect spot to get out of the house. If you're tired of working at home and it's in your budget and you want to work somewhere with a nice coffee bar, walking distance to Largo's and all the rest of the wonderful downtown Cartersville businesses, lunch spots, breweries, whatever, it's your spot. Whether you need that dedicated office or a flexible workspace, 216 has you covered. To learn more, visit their website, book a tour, and join us here at 216 Co-working. Before we dive in, of course, hit follow or subscribe wherever you're listening right now. If you're new here, thank you for being here. Happy to have you. We are on all the platforms: Apple, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, one of those weird ones. We're on all of them. So if you're listening, wherever you're at, hit subscribe so that when new episodes come out every week, you don't miss them. For, of course, updates, behind the scenes, sponsors, guests, clips, everything that is in the world about Your Morning Drive, follow on social media. Anywhere you follow Riley Green or Sydney Sweeney, you can follow Your Morning Drive as well. Everything is at Your Morning Drive, of course. Guys, my guest today is a Georgia native and a Clemson University alum who has spent the last 20 years shaping student life in higher education. Now, in housing at KSU, hooty hoo, he's built a career around community leadership and creating spaces where people belong. But outside the office, it's comedy that truly lights him up. From growing up on In Living Color and SNL to discovering improv as his true calling. He watches it, he performs it, he analyzes it, and he lives it. That passion recently took a bold new form with the launch of Cartersville Improv, his newest venture, bringing joy and spontaneity of live improv comedy to the Cartersville community. Please welcome my new friend, Chris Bruno.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
What up, dude? This was one so funny. We put this together pretty quickly, and I appreciate you're able to do that. I did the show with your wife.
Yes.
Shout out Meredith. I call her Meredith, but everyone else is just like, oh, I love Mir. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Mir.
When I call her Meredith, she thinks she's in trouble. So it's just Mare around the house. Or babe.
Yeah.
You know.
Love, honey.
Yeah.
Whatever comes.
Yeah, exactly.
You over there.
Names I can't use on this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to her. She was great. Love what she does with our friends over at Georgia Highlands.
Oh, she's killing.
She absolutely kills it. And so she was on the show, and then she mentioned, and no offense, Chris, this is what happens a lot, is a lot of people, particularly women, a lot of my guests on Your Morning Drive are women, because girls like to talk about themselves more than men do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what more women want to come in here than guys do. And a lot of girls.
That's a bold statement, Logan.
They love to talk about themselves.
You might lose
more than their husbands.
Okay, that's fair.
Way more than their husbands or other men. Like if I DM someone on Facebook or Instagram, like, hey, I'd love to have you on, I'd say 7 out of 10 women say yes, but maybe 3 out of 10 guys say yes.
Okay, so I'm kind of a groundbreaker.
You are a groundbreaker.
Okay.
In fact, I've actually been texted a few times recently of like, hey, it's been a minute since you've had a male guest air. I'm like, I've recorded a bunch this summer, so they're coming. The guys are coming.
They're
guys.
in the can.
They are in the can.
Got to get them released.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of the times I'll end an episode and I always ask everyone the same question. If you have anyone in your network, in your world, whether it's from your professional life or outside of that you think has a good story to tell or would have a good time in here, send them my way. And most women say, my husband would be great. And and I've heard that so much that I'm just like, ugh, never going to hit him up.
Yep.
But funny enough, I had the gap. I told you I just had to scrap an episode because of technical difficulties. And so I had a release date here the day that, of course, this episode releases. And I was like, oh my God. And so I was scrolling through my contacts and I was just looking and I was like, oh my God, I told Mir's husband that I'd do it. And I had just recently seen my first improv show.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I saw you, shook your hand there and said, we need to get you on. And then it just clicked. And I was like, I'm going to hit her up, get his number, and we're going to do it. And it came together. Look at us.
Yeah, look at
So
it. We're here doing it.
we are here.
I love being a second choice.
Stop it. Stop it. Yeah, it's not fun when I have to scrap shit, man. I feel like I waste the guest's time. I don't want to say it's a waste of my time because I got to have a great conversation with somebody. And luckily it was just a family friend. So we didn't even really talk about like any business of any sort. So it was just kind of a catch up.
Yeah.
But it was still like a bum thing to have to do to text her and say, hey, I can't air it. The quality is just not good. People would have to, and of course, because my microphone, I keep it pretty close. And as I mentioned, hers was pretty far back. And so people would have to crank their volume all the way up to hear her.
And then crank down.
all the way down to hear me. So it would just be a mess and not enjoyable experience. So I was like, we'll redo it at some point.
Yeah, I think I don't remember exactly when you texted me, maybe 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. But this is improv. I just yes-anded you and said, come on, let's do it. Let's roll.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. So before we talk about improv and some of your professional career stuff, let's go back. Let me get a little bit of the Chris origin story. Where are you from? Parents, siblings, anything you want to talk about? Were you cool in high school? Kind of give me the shebang.
For sure. Yeah. Born and raised here in Atlanta, specifically Doraville, Georgia, if you've ever heard of it. Lived right off of Tilly Mill Road. Grew up, went to Hightower Elementary, Peachtree Junior High, Dunwoody High School. My parents split when I was about 3 years old. So I was raised by my mom. I lived with my sister, and it was the three of us. Eventually my mom remarried. And so we lived in this very humble home over in Doraville, Georgia. And, was I cool in school? Absolutely not. No, heck no. I won't call myself an outcast, but I was that kid that was friends with everybody, but also friends with no one, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. I was the same.
So like school, everybody knows Chris. Chris is kind of funny. He's a good dude. But like after school is done, wasn't that kid who like hung out with other friends or like no one came to my house to hang out. And so it was really just me and my family, like me and my mom and my sister and my stepdad. And laughter was a constant in our house. We had each other. And so, growing up, there was TV was on a lot. There was a show that came on called In Living Color, which I would argue some people probably don't know about.
I've never seen it.
It's a Wayans Brothers show.
Yes.
So Damon Wayans and Marlon Wayans and Keenan Ivory Wayans. It was honestly, it was like a black sketch comedy show. Most of the cast members were black. But there was a young white man on that show by the name of James Carey, who we now know as Jim Carrey. It was like his breakout show, and it was all character based. And it was filmed sketch comedy like Saturday Night Live, just not the live portion of it. And it was all character based. And I would find myself imitating these characters because they made me laugh. They made my mom laugh. They made my sister laugh. And so I was like, this is fun. I have not a knack. I'm not great at impersonations, but seeing something funny on TV and like bringing it to school the next day and like finding that laughter is a way for me to connect with people when I don't feel like I fit in. It was fascinating. It clicked something in my brain at a very young age.
And to cut you off, was In Living Color at the time, so a sketch comedy, you said it wasn't live, right?
It wasn't live.
Like
it's
SNL.
all recorded.
So was it a show that people were talking about like the next day at school
100%.
when you did these impersonations where people were like, oh man, I caught it last night too. It was great.
100%.
So people were talking about it the next day.
Oh, yeah. And it was, for its time, it was a very edgy show. I mean, they could not make it today. There were characters like Fire Marshal Bill and Handyman, and Jim Carrey did a butch workout person. I can't remember the character's name, but the show could not be made today. And probably 2% of your listeners have ever heard of it or ever seen an episode of it. But it was on Fox, and we would watch it, I feel like, on Sunday nights. I think that's when it aired, and then would be at school the next day and, making people laugh. I was like, okay, I'm not a cool kid. I don't fit in with these people. But, comedy was a way for me to like connect and make people laugh. There's an old saying, the shortest distance between two people is a joke. And so, if you can make someone laugh, that takes down walls, and I was just a funny kid in high school. I didn't win superlative of like class clown or anything, but definitely if you were to talk to anybody that went to high school with me, they would say, yeah, that dude was pretty funny.
I relate to that so much, dude, because I similarly outcast, right, isn't the right word to use. I had like 3 or 4 friends that I like was passionate about, but they always had cooler houses than mine,
Oh
so
yeah,
we always went to their house. And my parents were cool, don't get me wrong here, mom and dad, if you hear this, but I always looked forward to going to their houses because of their parents either not giving a damn about anything or the amenities that they had or whatever. But same thing, like I felt like I was funny enough in high school that I should have been cool. Like
yeah.
I should have been invited to the parties,
Oh yeah.
but I wasn't.
No, never went to a single high school party.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say we were poor growing up, but we were definitely on the lower end of the financial spectrum.
sure.
And if you know the Doraville Dunwoody area, Peachtree Industrial crosses over where like the side of the street where I live versus the side where my friends lived. And people would crack jokes all the time of like, oh no, we're not going to Doraville. That's where the poor people live. Like that's the ghetto. And so I had a fairly lonely childhood, a lot of alone time, a lot of imagination, a lot of creativity, and comedy was what filled my soul as a young kid. I can remember being in my room growing up listening to the Jerky Boys, if you've ever heard of the Jerky Boys. This was a group, I believe they were based out of New Jersey or New York, and they did prank phone calls, and they put out CDs, if people remember what CDs are. And I think it was Jerky Boys with a Z, perhaps. And they would just record themselves making prank phone calls, and, they would have characters, it's like, "Hey, this is Frankie. What's up there?" I don't wanna cuss on the show, but very inappropriate, material for a young boy to be listening to. Uh, Adam Sandler, somebody that everybody knows, he put out a comedy album. It was like audio sketch comedy
Yeah.
called "They're All Gonna Laugh at You." It was his first album. Most people don't know that it exists, but boy, that was instrumental in my comedy journey at a very young age. And I never thought that comedy could be a career. I just never put those dots together. I never connected it at a young age. Had I done that, I feel like my life would be very different now. So, yeah, grew up in Doraville. My dad, I said my parents are divorced, and the weekends I would spend with my dad, he was a David Letterman fan. He would record David Letterman at night on VHS. We would watch it the next day, and so I got to watch David Letterman, who is a sneaky good comedian, one of the best, with his top 10 list and just the stuff he would do on air. But then dad every Saturday night at 11:30, dad watched the show called Saturday Night Live. And from I was born in 81, so like the 88, 89 year, I have memories of watching that with my dad, and that was live. Like how dangerous for them to be doing this live on TV. And SNL became a throughput in my life. I mean, I there have been periods where I step away from it, but it's Saturday nights at 11:30. You can catch me awake on my couch watching SNL. There's something about that live comedy experience that is just unique these days, especially for broadcast TV. And they just celebrated their 51st season on TV. It's wild.
They we're going through a really weird time right now, I feel like with comedy, where I think stand-up comedy is bigger than it's ever been.
Huge.
And
Thank
maybe
you.
that's dramatic because I wasn't around like in the prime time days of like David Letterman and like Jerry Sein, or I was around. I just, wasn't able to consume it.
Yeah.
Like Jerry Seinfeld and Letterman and Leno and like when the late night hosts were actually funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
When they were edgy.
and where they were edgy, but with comedy, whereas like today I feel like they've gotten away from that a little bit. I love Conan. I've always loved
Conan
Conan.
O'Brien.
I never
Ca-
watched the show live, but I love Conan O'Brien. He's
I
hilarious.
I have to tell you, Conan O'Brien is please don't ask me to rank my favorite comedians, but I think in terms of late night hosts, Conan is just on another planet. He's not from Earth.
No,
His comedy is so unique. He's a Harvard graduate. Did you know that?
I did know that.
He went to
I
Harvard.
know that he gives the commencement speech like every other year.
I mean, he is just truly on a different level, a different stratosphere, and he has helped so many comedians that we know today. Like they were interns for him, and he helps younger comedians get their feet on the ground. He's an outstanding comic. But yeah, you're right. It is a weird time. There's a big boom happening with stand-up comedy right now. A lot of it is driven by social media, so kudos to them for capitalizing on that. The Matt Rifes of the world, the Kill Tonys of the world, they're having a renaissance. Is that my particular brand of comedy? No, but good on them for figuring out the code.
What stinks about the comedy scene though right now is like we were saying, stand-up is huge, improv is huge, but they're not making comedy movies like they used to make them. Like the 90s and even the early 2000s, like some of my favorite comedies of all time are from before 2010.
Give me some examples.
I mean, Dumb and Dumber is my favorite.
Okay.
Period.
Could
comedy.
quote it.
Could
probably line by
write
line.
out the script for you.
Yes.
Happy Gilmore, the old Sandler flicks, the old Jim Carrey flicks. I love Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler growing up and still to this day. Just obsessed with those two.
Yeah.
God, what's more funny movies, man? One movie, I think it might have come out in 2010, or maybe it was like 2012, but this was the last, like, I think good comedy I saw in the theaters, which was We're the Millers.
Oh, yeah.
With Jason Sudeikis.
Love him.
Love that movie. Love him.
Was that with Jennifer Aniston?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
The fake family drug deal premise.
Yes. Yeah.
So funny, but they're not making comedies anymore.
That is so,
and I don't know why.
That's so interesting that you bring that up. I've got two boys. They're 17 and 14. And my oldest is really like, they've watched me do comedy for years now. And neither one of them have an interest in it. But they're like, kind of like I was with my dad, of like, what makes my dad laugh? Let's watch that stuff. And so we've been showing them, I'm divorced as well. So the weekends that they're with us, we'll watch Happy Gilmore, Dumb and Dumber. I think we can all quote that as a family by now. But showing them the stuff, Black Sheep, of course, Tommy Boy. I think Tommy Boy's a classic.
Tommy Boy's amazing.
Chris Farley was huge for me growing up. And
in more ways than one.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
Thank you.
Showing them old sketches on SNL, like Debbie Downer, which I think is a sketch everybody should see.
Classic.
The cowbell sketch. Just getting to share those things with them has been really fun. But you're right. They have stopped making comedies. And I don't know why. I don't know what's happening in Hollywood. But comedy to me is something, comedy is a very broad word to describe something that is really unique. Because even within the umbrella of saying this is comedy, there's different types of comedies. There's slapstick, like Dumb and Dumber might be. There's the dramedy that has a little drama touch to it. And I don't think there's one size fits all for comedy anymore. I think our world has changed a little bit, and people, what they find funny, they find funny.
And I'll say it so that you don't have to. I feel like a lot of comedy now is afraid of upsetting people. Because the world has gotten a little softer, and I'll leave it at that. And I hate that someone listening to that is going to say that's a political statement.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's a comedy statement. Because even just right now, I just pulled up a list of comedy movies that came out from 2006 to 2026. And all of them are from before 2015. And
that's fascinating.
Tropic Thunder, Borat. You can't make Borat today.
Can't make those today.
Can't make Tropic Thunder today.
Have shown my kids Borat.
That's a wild ride.
That's a wild ride. And it's something that, it's a shocking type comedy.
Yeah.
But Sacha Baron Cohen, I think, is brilliant.
Genius.
He had a show on Showtime, I think, called This Is America.
Yes.
My goodness.
So good. But why?
Whoa. What a wild ride.
You can't do that. And like some of these other ones, like the Great British, like the Hot Fuzz.
Oh, yeah.
Shaun of the Dead, of course, the 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
I mean, these movies, all of the 2005, 2008, 2007, 2004, 2006. The most recent movie on this list is 2012, and it was 21 Jump Street, which I thought was hilarious in the theaters as well.
My gosh, that I haven't gone down that rabbit hole before, but I will after this podcast.
Well, I know that I saw a comedy a couple months ago in the theaters, but it was a very small time movie. It was called Bus Boys, and it featured David Spade and Theo Von.
Okay, yeah.
And it was a movie that they pitched to every movie studio on the planet, and they all said to go F yourselves. We're not making this movie.
It's too risky for these what do you call them?
Studios.
Studios. Thank you.
And so they paid for it and produced it, directed it, did everything themselves.
I fully agree.
And it probably made $5 million, but their budget was probably like
400 grand or
400
something.
grand. And it reminded me of that classic, like, this isn't a movie I'm going to quote forever, but it made me yearn for like a good comedy in the movies. It's so fun to laugh with a group of people in a theater.
Yeah, well, I'll say a name that you probably know. Do you know the name Shane Gillis?
I'd love Shane Gillis.
Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but there was a big scandal. He actually got hired to be a cast member on SNL.
And he got fired.
And he got fired 5 days later because someone drugged something up that he had said on a podcast somewhere. And he got canned from the show, never got to step foot on that stage in that studio with that team. And now he's one of the biggest comedians out there. He's selling out arenas as a stand-up comic.
He did the damn, what is it, the Notre Dame Stadium a few months ago.
Yes.
There's like 50,000 people there.
To watch this guy do comedy. And again, is he for everybody? Absolutely not. No, he's not. But his show Tires on Netflix, I think, is hilarious.
Hilarious.
I think it got renewed for season 3.
I think it's coming soon.
I think so too. Yeah. But Shane is a great example of the state of our world, and people being a little soft, as you said, a little too sensitive. And that's me. I think comedy exists to push the envelope. Think about George Carlin in the 70s, if you know George Carlin.
I do.
Okay. He got arrested so many times for lewd conduct on stage. There's a guy from the 40s and 50s, Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce, same thing. He was a comedian. The stuff he would say on stage got him arrested. And I think that is what comedy is supposed to do. Comedy is not supposed to be insulting or, make people feel less than, but it's there to push the envelope.
Yeah, I mean, and I think there's a lot of comics, and maybe it's weaned off a little bit since then, but there was a time where people were afraid to say things on stage because they didn't want to get Will Smithed.
100%.
They didn't want to get assaulted on stage. Dave Chappelle tells a story all the time about how someone charged the stage. And
yes.
Someone tried to attack him for something he said. And Dave Chappelle really pushes the envelope with some of his jokes. Love that. Love him. Hey guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about the company that makes your morning drive happen every week. Are you looking to elevate your business and your brand? Hammerhead Creations is here to help. They offer top-tier marketing services, including social media management, website design, and Google page optimization, ensuring your business reaches the right audience. Whether it's a side hustle or your full-time grind, their expert team, me, is ready to help you grow. Plus, if you're into podcasting like me, Hammerhead Creations offers full support for both in-house shows and external podcast creation. From concept to production, we will help you bring your ideas to life. Visit www.hammerheadcreations.com and discover how we can take your business or your podcast or both to the next level. Hammerhead Creations, swim with the big sharks. It's so fun. The names we've just brought up in the last 5 minutes, like David Spade, Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, Dave Chappelle, Shane Gillis, they all have their own different versions of comedy.
It's all different.
It's so beautiful.
It's all different. And that's why I say, comedy is like the umbrella. And then underneath it are different genres, different types of comedians. You've got storytellers. You've got absurdists. There's a guy named Mitch Hedberg if you know Mitch Hedberg's name, there's no one been like him before or after, and never will be another guy like Mitch. Just a very unique brain. He looks at the world in a different way. And I think that's what I enjoy about comedy is it's that person's point of view on the world and their take and how they decide to share that with people. Nate Bargatze,
perfect example.
Just an absolutely clean comic. Never heard him utter a cuss word, never heard him say anything dirty, but has just absolutely blown up. And I think he's brilliant. I think he's hilarious. And I'm really happy to see him be successful.
Yeah, you talk about Shane. I'm pretty sure Nate is the highest paid comedian on the planet right now.
Well, he's got his whole Nate Lane brand now.
He's building a damn amusement park in Nashville.
Correct.
Which I told my wife that, and she's not as plugged into the pop culture and celebrities and stuff as I am. I'm maybe a little too much. But I was like, yeah, Nate Bargatze is building an amusement park in that, and she's from Nashville. She was like, where? And I was like, I don't
I
know,
have
but
no
he's
clue.
building it and he's financing it himself
I know.
because he wants a family-friendly theme park that is truly family-friendly and has stuff for people of all ages.
It's amazing.
And it's amazing. And you talk about comedy movies. His movie is coming out soon,
I think it comes out the end of
Either-
this month.
either next week or the week after. Or maybe it
it's
just came out?
already out. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm excited to see it.
Me too.
You know, I've watched Nate since he was doing little 30-minute bits on Comedy Central at the time, which is a TV station that doesn't exist anymore. But
Does it not exist?
no,
Whoa.
Comedy Central's dead.
That's crazy. Because that's where, like, it's so funny too how like stand-up evolves in that people always wanted to get on Comedy Central. And then it was like, oh no, I want an hour on HBO. I want an HBO special.
HBO was the pinnacle.
And now it's the Netflix special.
Oh man, these Netflix deals are killer.
Apparently they are.
They are. You get signed to a 3 to 4 show deal on Netflix, you're pretty well set for a long time.
And then I heard something else from another comedian I really love. His name's Dusty Slay.
Oh yeah.
He does a lot of the
I know
stuff with
Dusty.
Nate. And Dusty was talking recently about, so Dusty just recently released, and we're recording this, in mid-June. Dusty just released his latest stand-up special that he put on Netflix on YouTube. It's not on Netflix anymore. Because what he was talking about on his podcast is that Netflix doesn't do a thing anymore where they give you a special. You lease your special to Netflix. And then when that term is up, you can do it. You could leave it on Netflix or you could do whatever the hell you want with it.
Whoa, that's
So
interesting.
Netflix isn't just passing out stand-up specials anymore.
That's interesting.
Because at one point, like maybe 2 years ago, I was like, man, they're just giving one to everybody.
Literally.
Everybody has one.
Yep.
And, good for them. It probably boosts their careers in crazy ways.
Truly. Yeah.
But that's the thing that you talk about comedy. It just evolves so much over time.
Truly.
And like Dusty was like, and Netflix, they wanted me to pay them to have my special on it, which he was like, I get it. But he's like, but I could just throw it on YouTube I'll just upload it to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, and just monetize it that way.
And just monetize it that way.
Yeah.
And
there are some stand-ups who don't have the name recognition, who are just literally putting their content on YouTube for free, like whole sets, 30 minutes, 45, an hour long bit, and trying to break through that way because they can't get that Netflix deal.
yeah.
And so there's tons of avenues. TikTok and social media has just been a revolution in the world of comedy, whether it's sketch or improv or whatever. There was a comedian, Dustin Nickerson, who just popped off with this Looney Tunes bit. And it's a bit about how Looney Tunes has not aged well. And I believe his name is Dustin Nickerson. Looney Tunes bit. Watch it after this. It's about a 3-minute bit. He talks about how Looney Tunes hasn't aged well. He's showing it to his kids. It's one of the funniest bits I've seen in a long time. And he's going viral now. Like now all of a sudden he's announced a tour. And so these comedians, they get one viral moment on social media and then they've got to capitalize on it and monetize it. Cause in the stand-up comedy world, it's a grind. It's a grind. You do open mic nights 5 nights a week sometimes with very little money coming in. And so you get a moment like that, you got to jump on it. Kudos to him. That Looney Tunes bit is laugh out loud funny.
We're definitely watching it after this because I haven't seen it yet.
It's so good.
Because even without watching it, I just know in my head that there's no way Looney Tunes has aged well. There's no way.
But we've never thought about it.
No.
We've never thought about it. I don't want to ruin it, but
yeah, we'll watch it after this. And that's the funny thing about comedy, because over the years I've said the same thing about music, and I think we're going through it with movies too right now. It's like, how can you tell a new joke? How hasn't it not been told before? But like you said, nobody's thought about how Looney Tunes hasn't aged well.
It's all in how people's brains analyze stuff. That's why when I said I study comedy, like comedy's so interesting to me because stand up, it's all out. You'll hear comics talk about a rhythm, the pacing in which they tell their jokes, the voices that they use, like how their brains analyze the world. It makes me jealous. I'm like, why can't I think of that? And I'm not a stand-up. I have done stand-up. It is one of the most terrifying things I've ever done. Writing material out that you think is funny and trying to get a crowd to laugh. And if it doesn't land, whoa. If you're not tough-skinned, you will not make it as a comic. So anyway, a little tangent there. But I love studying people and studying how their brains work and just like it's fascinating to me, but it also pisses me off so hard because I'm like, God, that's so smart. Why doesn't my brain operate in that way? You
Yeah.
know?
I think about it all the time when especially because I'm really good friends with, and I know you know him too, Rich Brock,
Yeah.
local comedian here, and hearing him talk about comedy and the process, and you talk about the grind, like doing
Mhm.
open mic nights. He's full-time comedian now too, so you're doing bingo, you're doing whatever you can to make ends meet, but then you're doing material, and it's hard to write he talks about it a lot to me. It's hard to write new material
Mm.
because you just don't know. He's like, you could walk into one room and it murders and people are falling out of their chairs, and then you walk into the next room and it's crickets.
And that's why comedy is such I'm trying to think of the right phrase, a tricky
It's
beast.
just so volatile. That might be it.
It's so personal what people find funny.
Yeah.
And you just never know if a joke's gonna land. There's a fundraising comedy show coming up on September 11th,
Yes.
and I have two of my buddies who
Yes.
are gonna be doing sets there.
Yes.
And one of them reached out to me and wanted to sit down because I'm a total comedy nerd. And, when I was talking to Logan about the show, I was like, I don't really, people have hobbies like pickleball, and I don't even know what people have.
Yeah.
Comedy's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's what I do all the time. So anyway, long story short, I sat down with my buddy and he was like, "Hey, can I run my set by you?" And like there's a thing in comedy called punch up. Like
Yeah.
you give me your jokes, I'm gonna help you punch it up a little bit, make it tighter. It's all about wordsmithing and pacing and rhythm. And so I'm not gonna tell you the name of the comic, but
Dang.
I think he's gonna do extremely well.
Dang. Well, I know it's one of the two.
Yeah.
I know one of the two of them, and I sat down with one of them last week too.
Oh, really?
But just because they wanted to ask more of the fundraising aspect on how that was going to
Okay.
work.
Okay.
But he
We'll talk-
kind of
we'll
gave me a
talk
little
off
bit of a
mic.
tease of like what he wanted to do. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
Okay. I was like, but please don't tell me anything. I was like, I want to experience it live like the rest of the audience.
We'll talk off mic then.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see that show.
It's going to be so fun.
I think they get 4 minutes. It's a fundraising show for the AIAO Ministries.
Yep. Shouts to Kevin.
Yeah. So I love, being in a small town. I'm a Cartersville transplant, moved here in 2019. And so to see comedy start to not really pop off, it's a little bit underground still, but to see it get exposure, I'm like, heck, yes, this could be a thing.
Yeah.
Cartersville as a town, I feel like is right on the cusp of changing pretty dramatically.
Yeah. And I think we're already kind of experiencing it too, slowly but surely.
I believe Meredith may have talked about this when she was on the podcast, but like the older generation who's been here a long time, what happens in life happens. And so they're going to start phasing out. And Cartersville is kind of becoming a younger town. And I think we're right on the cusp of something really cool happening here.
And even last night, me and Catherine were talking because we're planning on this coming weekend going to like the Music by the Tracks thing that's downtown. And she was like, let's invite people to go, like text, our Cartersville friends. And I was thinking about it and I was like, all of my Cartersville friends are 40 and above, 45 and above.
Yeah.
I was like, I need some new young friends. And she was like, there's so many young people in Cartersville that you know. And I was like, yeah, maybe. So it's slowly but surely happening because, again, affordability drives a lot of things in Cartersville. That's why I got here. It was affordable.
Literally.
My wife teaches in Kennesaw, and as a first-time home buyer, that wasn't happening.
Oh, no.
Unless I wanted to be in a $500,000 house and living in my car, basically.
Exactly.
Living in a house and not being able to do and being house poor.
Well, Meredith is the reason I'm here in town.
Yeah.
And when we met at work, and I was renting a 600 square foot apartment in Kennesaw for $1,600 a month. And
What was the square footage? Sorry.
600.
Okay.
600 square feet.
Yeah.
1 bedroom.
Yeah.
And as a divorced dad with 2 boys, like child support is a real thing. And so I was like, holy crap, I'm really struggling. And so Meredith, we were starting to get more and more serious. And she was like, hey, I found a home you can rent for $800 a month. And I said, a home?
Like a full home?
Like with windows and a roof? And so I jumped on it. I was like, well, I feel like you and I are going to go somewhere long term. And I made a move up here to Cartersville, and one of the best decisions of my life. It was life-changing.
But I think you're right. Cartersville is having this little mini revolution that's happening. And revolution's dramatic. I mean, people are dying and young people are moving in. That's just life.
Yeah.
But I think with the comedy thing, of course, you guys are having a huge hand in it. And I do want to credit Rich because I think Rich has done a really good job of bringing comedy to Car. I'm sure there's been people before him. I just moved here right at a time where I went to a Big Rich show, and he was my first exposure.
Not in the stand-up space.
So he's really leading the way out here for in the stand-up world, and you guys are leading the charge in the improv thing. So I think that stuff is slowly but surely boiling.
Yeah.
You know, we're close enough to Chattanooga that Chattanooga comics can come down. We're close enough to Atlanta that Atlanta comics can come down. So I think we're in a really good spot.
There's a scene popping up in Marietta too.
Yes.
The alley stage right there on the square.
Yep.
Bringing in some big name not big name, but some like Atlanta famous comics.
Sure. Sure.
Alley Edge is somebody who performs down there. Joel Byers.
Yeah, Joel Byers is good.
Yeah. I met Joel 12, 13 years ago when he was doing stand-up at the Basement Theater, doing 5-minute bits. Comedy is really starting to blow up in Atlanta. We're not a comedy city.
No.
And so to see that happen is really cool. Just to be a small part of that is really, really exciting for us.
And it's funny too, because when I think of comedy cities, I think of like Nashville, but it's funny because it's not always been that way.
That's funny.
And that's thanks to Nate.
I would never consider Nashville. Well, they have Zanies. Yeah. Zanies has been there for a bit.
I was listening to, Dusty Slay, he does his own personal podcast, but he also has a podcast with two of his buddies that used to be involved with I think they are still involved in like the Nate Land. And I think it's a Nate Land produced podcast too. And it's called, oh God, it's escaping me now, but yeah, God, that's going to bug me. But either way, they were talking about how Nashville is a huge comedy scene right now because of, not solely because of Nate, but like Theo Von lives in Nashville.
But a big part.
And he's got a big hand in it. And Rich goes up and he does shows in Nashville a lot now because people want to see comedy. And maybe that's just a good thing in general. People want to laugh. People want comedy so bad.
Who doesn't want to laugh? I mean, I've never met someone who's like, no, I don't want to laugh at all. Life is not funny. There's nothing funny about it.
Yeah.
Like,
how could you laugh at a time like this? I've heard that before. And I'm just like,
exactly.
Bro, there's plenty of life to laugh at.
Truly.
We can't take ourselves too seriously.
No, not at all. That's when we get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like if you step back, I could get real cerebral here. But when you think about life and like, why are we here? What is the purpose of this? Like, I don't have an answer for that. Some of us may never know. But, this is a weird thing that we're doing here in terms of life. And so you got to find joy somewhere. You got to find laughter somewhere. Otherwise, your life is going to be pretty miserable. And I do know people who don't find much funny. And I feel sorry for them. There's comedy out there for everybody, every different flavor, every genre, whatever you find funny, it's out there. I promise.
And so I just looked up like the biggest comedy cities. I don't have a Jamie. I'm not Joe Rogan. I don't have a Jamie that's looking stuff up for me. So I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I'm
myself.
Actually really impressed by this. For the listeners out there, Logan has an iPad propped up on his ankle, and he's just searching and talking at the same time. I'm like, this is a miracle. I couldn't do that. And like continue the conversation while you're typing. This is impressive.
And of course, like New York, LA, Chicago, of course, biggest ones. But then it says like thriving regional hubs, and Nashville is here because of Zanies and what
Austin
Nate is doing.
Has to be on that
Austin
list.
is huge now because Joe Rogan has moved out there, and he's convinced all of his comedy friends to move out there.
Yes, he's building an empire.
Huge. I want to go to the mothership so
Mothership.
bad. Catherine brought up the other day, she was like, we should take a trip to Texas. Specifically, let's go to Austin so we can go to a show at the mothership. And I was like, okay, like, fine by me.
Yeah. Twist my arm, why don't you?
Yeah, why not? And then it also says like Denver's apparently
popping
becoming
off.
big.
Yeah.
And even Minneapolis, it says.
Minneapolis
is popping off.
is a shockingly big comedy city.
I would have not thought that.
Yeah.
I would have not known that at all.
This is a true story. So my wife is on the road to Charlotte right now. Everywhere we travel, she travels a lot more than I do, but she always drags me along. Everywhere we go, we see a comedy show, whether it's some local stand-up or some local improv. There's comedy literally everywhere. You just have to look for it. And it just takes a quick Google search. Comedy clubs in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Right.
I guarantee there's one there. It may not have a show while you're there, but it's everywhere. But those are some big name cities. Atlanta's probably not on that list, I wouldn't think.
Believe it or not, It is.
Really?
It says a thriving Southern powerhouse for stand-up. Local and touring acts agree that the scene is highly supportive and boasting legendary rooms like the Punchline and Laughing Skull.
Okay.
I don't know if I agree with it though.
The Laughing Skull. No offense to the Punchline people out there. My last time there, I was like, well, how is this place still open?
Yeah.
It was pretty sad to see it.
And Rich often talks about, he's like, if you want to be, and he's like, that's why he's like, I like to bring comedy to Cartersville or my metro Atlanta area, because if I really like, this is Rich talking. He's like, I'm in my mid 50s. I don't want to drive to the Laughing Skull and do a 5-minute bit at 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday.
No.
I don't want to do that. He's like, so why don't we create opportunities locally?
Exactly.
And you guys are doing that with the improv group.
100%.
And it says Boston too.
Boston's a big comedy city. Yeah. It's funny, when we're, and this is an incredibly niche podcast. I don't know how many people are still listening, but when it comes to comedy, you really have stand up and improv as the two forks, if you will. And all of those cities have, I would, in the improv community, ranking them Chicago #1, hands down, the home of improv.
Really?
That's where it started. Then you go New York, then you go LA, then you go Boston as like a surprising improv city. Minneapolis, huge improv city. Atlanta, probably top 100.
Really?
There used to be a ton of improv theaters here in town. During COVID, a bunch of them didn't survive. And so in the Atlanta area, you really have two. Dad's Garage, which has been around forever, going on 27 years, I think. Whole World right there on William Street, also both downtown. Outside of that, good luck finding an improv theater. The Alley Stage in Marietta's coming up. Woodstock has the Woodstock Wit, and that's really it. I mean, I'm sure there are theaters that I'm not aware of, but we're trying to do something here in Cartersville that I think has legs, is a phrase I use. We could build something really cool here and make this a place for comedy. And with Big Rich and the traction that he's getting, I think there could be a theater dedicated to just comedy at some point in the next 10 years.
I think that's insanely possible. I would even be ballsy enough to say maybe 5 years.
Look, I got big dreams, Logan. I've got big dreams.
And I do too.
Improv as a standalone, I don't know that Cartersville has the audience to support like a true improv theater 7 days a week. I just don't think the audience is there right now. But if what we're talking about in the troupe is like, let's say there's like we perform at Noble and Main in the event space right now. Shout out to Maddie and Justin.
Yep. Shouts.
They allow us to use that space free, and they've been a godsend to the troupe. Please support Noble and Main. Their coffee is delicious, and they're just wonderful people. But like, let's say you have a coffee shop that's running 7 days a week, and then there just happens to be an event space in the back that does shows and stuff. And it's, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're running shows. That's my dream. I want to bring that to Cartersville. I want to be that person who plants this seed. I talk a lot about, are you a Hamilton fan?
I've seen it a couple times.
Okay.
I mean, on Disney Plus. I've never seen it live.
Same.
Yeah.
I've seen it on Disney Plus probably 10 times. But there's a line in that. He says, legacy. Legacy is planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. And I was like, oh, dang. You don't always get to see what your legacy is when you're here, but just planting a seed that might sustain after you're gone. Like, that's what I would like to leave for Cartersville.
And I think it's entirely possible with this rise of, like I said a second ago, people just want to laugh. And whether it's a scripted stand-up touring comedian headlining Nate Bargatze, whoever, or a small town comedian or an improv group, people want to laugh. And I think that I'm honestly shocked that there's not more places that advertise that they do comedy.
Your Morning Drive is also present to us by Good Days Canned Cocktails. Good Days are a classic cocktail brand created in a convenient, ready-to-drink canned format for any occasion, whether it's a pool day, a boat day, a beach day, a graduation, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, anything in between. Good Days are there for you. Good days are ahead when they are in your cooler, your fridge, your anything in between. Good Days has your back. If you want to be one of the first to try their drink, you can do so by visiting drinkgooddays.com/pages/find-us to find a store near you selling their drink. Of course, you must be 21 years of age to consume and purchase.
I know. You think about the Grand right downtown. That's a great venue.
Great venue.
I've never seen a single comedian come there. It's always like, and no offense, but music acts advertised to the 60+ crowd.
Yeah.
And so again, I think as Cartersville starts to change as an ecosystem, there's some really cool things that are coming down the road, I think.
I think so too. And I think it's entirely possible, Chris, and I'm just going to put it out there in the world. So maybe we'll do something about it, because I love to do stuff that I have no business doing. But I think that is totally possible to bring a stand-up festival of sorts to Cartersville in that theater. I think it's entirely possible that it could happen in the next few years.
I would love to be riding that wave as it starts to happen,
because it needs to happen. And you say that there might not be an audience, and I respectfully disagree, only because I had to beg Meredith for a pre-sale link to be able to buy tickets to see you guys perform, because when you guys list your shows, they're gone in a second.
We've been incredibly lucky. Yeah,
I'm going to pause you right there, though.
No problem.
Because you should own it and stop saying you're lucky. And I'm kind of talking to myself too, because people are, oh, you're doing cool things. And I'm like, I just get lucky. And they're just like, no, you need to stop deflecting and own that you guys are doing something freaking awesome.
Okay, fine.
So
I'll own it then.
Own it. You guys are doing good shit.
We're the best improv troupe north of Marietta. I mean, there's a buddy of mine who got me into improv, and he and I talk a lot. He's like my mentor, but also my best bud for 20-something years. And he asked me a question, because I have high expectations, high dreams. And the product that we put on stage, I want it to be excellent. I want it to be something that people want to come back to see. And he asked me a question. He said, are you doing the best improv in a 20-mile radius? And I said, 100%, James. No question. He said, that's good enough for right now. And we're killing it. I would argue you're seeing improv at an Atlanta level, like what Dad's Garage puts on. That's where I was trained. I did my training there a long time ago, and have been an independent troupe ever since. But yeah, we're freaking good, and we're cheap. It's $15 to see a show. They sell out, tickets sell out in 3 to 4 days. And so if you're not connected to a troupe member normally, we are hard to get tickets to. We're a hot ticket. We just had a show last night, sold out show again. It's our 6th one in a row. We've only had 6 shows, and they've sold out every time. And yeah, we're very, very proud. If I could do 2 shows in a weekend, we would do it. But the lift to put these shows on is pretty tremendous. Noble and Main has been amazing, but there's a lot of work, a lot of tables and chairs that have to be moved, a lot of setup, a lot of breakdown. That's not our space, so we got to make sure we take good care of it. So if we had a space to our own that didn't require such a hefty setup, we'd be putting on more shows for sure.
And so we've danced around it and we've talked about it, but let's go back and let's talk about how that exists, how the improv group exists. So you grew up and you've studied comedy, you've watched it, you've been obsessed with it your whole life. At what point was it like, I'm going to do something about it?
Yeah, I was 30 years old, and my buddy, I got to give him a shout out, James Robalata. He's from Long Island, New York. We went to college together, and I went up to New York to visit him, and James had been doing improv for about 6 or 7 years at that point, and he was just a total comedy nerd like I was, or am. And we had a conversation. I was like, something's missing in my life, James. I don't know what it is, but I don't feel fulfilled. And he said, well, bro, you should take an improv class. And I said, what are you talking about? An improv class? He was like, yeah, I'm sure that Dad's Garage offers classes and you should take it. And so I went home back to my hotel that night. I started researching. I signed up for my class, my very first class, level 1. Dad's Garage offered levels 1 through 4 in terms of improv training. And I mean, the first class, I was like, oh, I think I found it. I think I found what I'm supposed to do. And it just unlocked something in my brain because, as a kid growing up, watching these people on SNL, on In Living Color, on Mad TV, you mentioned Jason Sudeikis. Most of the comic stars we know, Steve Carell, they came up through an improv background. They started in improv. Almost all of them. We could go through names and I could say, improv, improv, improv. That's been the roots for a lot of comedians that we know today. And so I was like, oh, crap. Went through all 4 levels at Dad's Garage, auditioned twice to be a cast member with that theater. They turned me down both times. And so I said, this can't be the end of this journey for me. I'm not good enough to be on cast with them. And so I started an independent troupe back in 2012, and we were the first independent troupe in the city of Atlanta, and we went anywhere and everywhere that would have us perform. And we had a standing show at Smith's Old Bar for years, and eventually, life happens. People get busy, they start flaking out. The improv troupe disbanded around 2016 and then moved to Cartersville. And I got to give a shout out to my bestie, Megan Humphreys. She was at the Legion Theater and she actually had a troupe. It was called Theater Extreme. And so when I was moving here, I sent Megan an email and I said, hey, I'm an improv junkie. Can I come to a rehearsal? And that's all she wrote. Me and Megan got linked up together and I served as the director of improv at the Pump House Players for 6 years. And then last October of 25, left the theater. And I said, I've got to take my talents elsewhere. I see an opportunity to monetize this, and we're not making a ton of money. That's not really the point for me. But I want to build something that's sustainable where we're bringing it to the masses and being able to pay our performers a little bit. Like right now, we make enough money at each show to go eat at Jefferson's after the show.
Hell yeah, that sounds like a huge win.
That's a huge win for us.
That sounds so good.
And anyway, that was a rambling path of my improv journey, but it truly changed my life. I mean, improv is such a wonderful thing. I consider myself an introvert at my core. I'm a very shy person, and
Same here.
it brings out, maybe it's calling to that little 10-year-old Chris who was trying to make people laugh, but I get to be someone else on stage for an hour and a half. Even when I host a show, you've seen me host a show, and that's a different version of Chris that shows up on that stage than the Chris that you meet off stage. Like, it's a chance for me to just be this character for an hour and a half and live in that body and bring comedy to people. It's just, words can't really describe it. You got to do it.
And I'm glad you brought that up. So I saw the show a couple weeks ago or a month ago, I guess at this point, and you were hosting. Do you always host?
I do. Right now, that's my role with the troupe.
Okay.
Yeah. So this group, we call ourselves Sunday League, and people ask us, what does that name mean? It's literally we rehearse on Sunday nights.
Okay. Because you perform on Saturday.
But we've been rehearsing on Sunday nights at 7:00 for about 2 years now. And these are all outside of Megan. Megan's fantastic, but we put on classes. I've taught improv for years. Back 2.5 years ago, I offered classes through the Legion Theater, improv classes. That was a level 1 class. And there were some people that really stood out to me. And I was like, they have natural talents and skills. And so I built this troupe based off of those improv classes and put them all together. And so like, this is my baby. These are my people, they're a product of me. Everything they've learned has come through my experience, my training, my coaching. And we are a very tight-knit group, very well connected. And so Sunday League is a name that's going to take over this town eventually. We've only done 6 shows as a troupe, but they're a fantastic bunch of people, talented in multiple ways.
And so Sunday League is the name of the troupe, but correct me if I'm wrong here, and I might be. So did I go to a Sunday League show or a Cartersville Improv show?
That's where I think I need to bring some clarity. So my company is Cartersville Improv LLC. That's my quote theater. Okay. Sunday League is a troupe within that theater.
So there could be, in theory, multiple troupes.
That's the goal, Logan.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Okay.
So Cartersville Improv, you went to a Cartersville Improv presents Sunday League show.
Understood.
And so this is really, I'm basing this business model off of a theater up in New York called Upright Citizens Brigade. It was an offshoot of a Chicago improv troupe. There was a young woman named Amy Poehler who helped start this theater back in the early 90s. So yeah, the long-term vision is Sunday League is like the flagship troupe of Cartersville Improv. But as more classes, as we're able to offer classes and teach people improv and train them appropriately, we do want more troops underneath this umbrella of this company, this theater, if you will. We're just a theater without a home right now. So our home is the Noble and Main event space. So Megan is really my ride or die in this journey. She's also the one who has, similar experience to what I have. And so we're going to be offering classes in the fall semester for people that want to try improv. It'll be an 8-week session, about $200. And, for 2 hours a week for 8 weeks, we're going to get you in a room just like we did with the Sunday League folks and train you on how to do improv. I believe at my core that anybody can be trained to do this. When I talk to people, they'll say, well, I'm not funny, Chris. And I said, that's great. You don't have to be funny. You don't have to be funny to do improv. You have to be a good listener. You have to be supportive. You have to communicate well. You have to be real. Like, you don't have to be funny to do improv. The funny is the magic that happens when you have a well-oiled machine together. Like when people hear that we rehearse 2 hours a week every Sunday night. And people are like, why do you rehearse? It's improv. And the magic comes when the group starts to gel. And in order to gel, you have to practice together. And it's called group mind, where eventually everybody in that group is on the same brain wavelength and they know what the next move needs to be and they know where the story needs to go. And it's freaking magical, man. It's magical.
Yeah, you saying that immediately, that throws me off because in my head, an improv comedy show is straight up improv, no practicing. But
that would be horrible.
But like you said, your group, and I will, and I'm not just saying this because you're sitting in the room with me, even walking to the car that night, I said, Catherine, I was like, they work so well together. And for a group that's only done 6 shows, you guys have something really special. Like watching, there's a bit in particular that watching it, I was in awe because I was like, how are they doing it? It was with Chris and the other gentleman, I don't remember his name, taller black guy.
Ray.
They were doing the speak at the same time kind of
one
bit.
voice, yeah.
One voice. I don't know how the hell they did it.
Yeah.
They were doing so well. The whole time I'm watching, I was like, there's no way this wasn't scripted. They were talking. They were improvising.
Yeah.
And they were matching their words as if they had practiced their spiel
those exact words
30
together.
minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like watching it, I was like, there's no way.
Oh, dude.
That only can happen when the group gels together.
100%.
And I love the energy of like when people are going up off stage, there's like it's not super obvious, but it's very subtle, like fist bumps or high fives or pat on the back, or whenever one comes in to support another. Like I was just in awe of it. I've never seen an improv show before. It was my first
really?
time,
That was your first one?
First improv show, period.
Nice. Okay.
So I was just
it's
in shock. And I'll be completely honest with you. When it first started, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this.
Yeah,
But as the show went on and I saw the group chemistry and the bits that kept coming back that were introduced at the beginning of the show, like my show had the joke about Rock Mart.
Oh my God.
Kept bringing that back in later skits, in different games and sessions or whatever you call them, different bits that you guys were doing. I was like, this is so damn good and everybody needs to see this. And I think take the comedy out of it. Sorry, I'm talking over you.
No, you're fine.
Take the comedy away from it. The real steal here to me is y'all's chemistry.
Yeah.
Because if there was one weak link, the whole show would suffer.
And that's what I love about it. I tell each one of them has what I call an improv superpower. And it's like building a sports team. I don't really know how else to like equate it, But, you got your point guard, you got your center, you got your power forward, I just watched the Knicks win last night.
Yeah. Wow. Good for them.
Yeah, no joke.
50 years.
53
Good
years
God.
since your last championship.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Good for them.
not to blow when we're recording this, but yeah, each one of them brings something unique to the troupe, and you can't have three people who have the same superpower. And so it's really fascinating when you're building an improv troupe to say, okay, I need you for this, I need you for this, I need you for this. And then we got to put all that together, get egos out of the way. One of the worst compliments you can get as an improviser is you were the funniest one, because that means that you made yourself the center of the show or the scene, because it is about the troupe. It is really truly a selfless art where it's not about one person having all the funny lines. It is about building this thing together, brick by brick, line by line, and making it make sense and making it funny. And uh, it's magical, man. I do consider it an art form, and it takes a certain kind of brain to want to do it and a certain kind of person to do it, because it's not about gags and jokes. It's about being smart and knowing, again, that group chemistry is really, really important.
And like you said, I was just so amazed with how quick everyone is. And of course, with improv, you have to be, because there's an audience in front of you and you've got to come up with something. But just the quickness of it, like the one voice bit, I just keep thinking back to, of like how genius they were in that. Or what's the rotating one? There was four corners.
Death box. Yeah.
Death box. Just the way that they not only had to memorize, okay, Brendan and Megan were doing this bit, and then, rotate 3 squares or whatever. And then Brendan has to remember
where I am,
who I am, what character I'm playing, what I said last, but only with this one person. And I have to get up here and do this with another person. So just I don't want to say intelligence, because that might not be the right word, but just the thought that goes into it. It's a huge mental game.
Oh, it is.
It's insane memorization. Even though you're not memorizing anything.
But yeah, you gotta, but like you said, you mentioned callbacks earlier. Like, in order to be a good improviser, when I'm teaching students, it's not about being funny. You have to listen with your whole body. Every ounce of your being has to listen and pay attention to what's going on, because you can't be up here. I'm pointing to my head for the people listening. Once you get up here and you're in your brain thinking too much, you're toast as an improviser, because then you miss what's happening right there in front of you, and you miss that split second where you jump in and say something or jump on something that somebody else said. It really keeps you very present. And if you apply that in your offstage life, it makes life so much more fun. Like, when I tell people improv has changed my life, I don't just mean like this is a thing I do. Like, this is infused in my core as a human being. So like, just shooting the bull with you on this podcast, it's like, okay, Logan said something, I'm going to jump on that and make a comment about it, because I'll never get that opportunity again. It's gone. And so improv is something that exists in that space for the people there and the people on stage. It will never be seen again. Those exact words will never happen again. And there's something magical about that to me.
And improv is an art form in the fact that I think it's fascinating too, that like you mentioned, Amy Poehler and Steve Carell, which the Steve Carell thing I think is hilarious, because I love that in The Office, Steve Carell's character does improv, but he's so bad at it.
It's so good. If you know that he has an improv background, that
it's
show
even
is
funnier.
10 times funnier.
So the fact that he plays a character who's inherently bad at improv, it makes it funnier knowing that that's how he got to start. But you mentioned these comedians that started out in improv.
Mm-hmm.
Not all stand-up comedians are good improv comedians, and vice versa.
Correct.
So it's funny that there can be a comedian that their whole career, even if they're doing it in stadiums, they're doing improv in stadiums, and that's their thing. But if you put them, center stage with a mic, they're not going to do as well, because that's just not their art form.
It's not how they're wired. I'm not wired to be a stand-up, but I am wired to be an improviser.
You could do stand-up.
Would I be great at it? No, I don't believe so, because my point of view on the world is hyper specific. And so I don't know that I would appeal to a large audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And then so I've heard a few rumblings here in this chat about like the goal.
Hmm?
Like you talk about Cartersville Improv as the umbrella and then Sunday League is just one pillar for now.
Yeah.
Just one pillar of that umbrella. Is the goal, of course, to have your own space, to have more groups within the Cartersville Improv umbrella?
Yeah.
Like, how do you scale something like this?
Yeah.
Because it's
So
unlike any other business.
I do have a business plan. It's a 5-year business plan. It all comes down to capital. I work in higher education, so I don't get paid a lot. And so don't have a lot of savings to be able to invest in this. And
Sure.
so have to build my capital through shows. And our tickets are $15 a piece. We sell 45 tickets a show. It's about $675. Not about. That's exactly how much money we generate per show. We go out to Jefferson's after. That is a tradition. We'll spend about $300 on a meal. So we're netting $400 a show roughly. And my plan is we got to keep grinding. We're going to keep doing monthly shows. The improv classes are going to be a big revenue generator for us. If we cap it at 12 people per class, $200 per person, you're making, I can't do the math that quick in my head, maybe $2,400.
Yeah.
And that is all going to go into a bank account. I'm an incredibly risk averse person, despite what I do as my hobby, especially when it comes to money. Because like I mentioned, I didn't grow up with a lot, and so I'm not someone who's going to take a risk at losing money.
Yeah.
So the goal is to build the capital up to be able to rent a space somewhere here in town, a space that can be ours. That is incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
And so looking ahead 5 years from now, we got to put more classes out. We have to have more troops in town. We have to build an ecosystem where we got 3 or 4 troops. We're cycling through those. We're doing different types of content, different types of improv games. Those people who become students, who become performers, they invite their friends and family to come see them. That's more audience members. And so we've got to increase the net that we're casting out there. So when I say 10 years, I'm 45. I would love to be retired in 10 years. And I want this to be what I spend the last years of my life doing. I want to run a theater. I do believe that is possible. I think it's going to be very, very tight financially. But again, I'm not doing this to make money. This is truly for love of the game. I mean, I think, um, you came to your first improv show. I think everybody should see an improv show, even if it feels a little alien and different, and it can make people uncomfortable. But that's my end goal is let's have a space that's dedicated to improv solely here in town. Where that is, I have no idea. I just know that the next 5 years is going to be building capital so that we can rent a space without having to dip into my own money that I generate through, my 9 to 5 job.
And I want to touch on this real quick too. You guys have such a great troupe. I mean, and you've got people who you tell someone like my wife, perfect example. I tell her who some of these people are in town. And she was like,
Yeah,
Chris?
correct.
Or Phoebe?
Yeah.
And it's like, or Megan. And it's like, she's a lawyer. She works for a nonprofit. He owns a counseling center. And it's like, all these people, though, have one thing in common in that they have this desire to make people laugh.
100%.
And the things that they do, especially Chris, I'm going to use him as an example. His work is very heavy. He takes a lot of that home with him, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's very deep in thought, a lot. He has to process a lot of things mentally. I mean, I go to Etowah counseling.
Yeah.
So when I heard that he was in there, I was like, shut the front door. There's no way that the dude who runs this business is also doing improv comedy. And I thought he was absolutely hilarious.
You know what? We have it's not really a joke. We practice in his counseling center. We're in the lobby of his office
Oh my
space.
God, that's freaking hilarious.
That's where we rehearse every Sunday night.
Amazing.
And we call it rehearsal. For us is sacred. We get 2 hours together to be with our friends, to be with people that we commune with, and we get to make each other laugh. And our rehearsals are our therapy. That is how we get through the tough weeks that we have. that's how we get through. That's how we deal with life, is just by being with each other. And again, Brendan films a lot of our rehearsals. And so
Yes.
some of the content you see on our Instagram is from him. But the funniest things we do is like our rehearsals are 10 times funnier than our shows because we don't have to worry about what the audience is going to say or think
Sure. You
about
don't
what we're
hold back in
doing.
rehearsal.
Totally unfiltered. And it's the funny. We make each other cry laughing at
Yeah.
rehearsal.
That's the best.
And that is how we deal with the world that we're in. Like my 9 to 5 sucks some days. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
And so knowing that I have Sunday night, and it was kind of an accident that before we start our work week and we get sucked into that, it's like, we're going to go into the week just fine.
Yeah.
Because we just spent 2 hours with each other. There's a lot of, we hug each other a lot. We say we love you, like, have a great week. Like, there's a lot of care in that group, and it's all genuine. It's just, it's awesome.
I'm sure you've thought about this, but I just had a thought and I have to ask about it.
Hey guys, let's talk about another partner of the podcast, Branded and Devoted Designs. Are you looking to level up your company's merch game? Your brand deserves better than boring swag. If you contact Branded and Devoted Designs, you can level up with custom hats, shirts, tumblers, mugs, and more that your customers and clients will brag about. Go to www.brandedanddevoted.designs.com to make your brand stick out. Mention that Logan from Your Morning Drive sent you, and they will give you 10% off of your order. That's brandedanddevoted.designs.com. Tell them Logan sent you from Your Morning Drive for 10% off your order.
You guys are doing your improv shows. You're doing, what do you call them? Skits, bits, games. What do you call them?
Skits is, yeah, no, definitely not a skit. We do games, but technically, we could go another hour talking about this. We don't perform, we play. And the improv community is called playing.
Okay.
You're just playing with your friends. And so we play games together.
Okay. So you're playing your games, but what about skits?
Sketches.
What about sketches?
Sketches. So, like, are we ever going to do that?
Could you do sketches?
Oh, 100%.
Have you rehearsed sketches?
We have.
That'd be so good.
So we were lucky enough to, I think through Brendan and Chris's contacts with Cartersville Dances with Stars.
Yes.
We did our first sketch for them, and it never went anywhere. It didn't get published for Dances with the Stars, but it was published on our Instagram page, and it was an improvised sketch, which is not typically what you see. But we just had a show last night. We're not doing a July show, contemplating not doing an August show, and dedicating the next 2 months to written material, written and recorded sketches. Because full disclosure, we're trying to pop off too. I mean, our Instagram account just started in January. We've got almost 1,900 followers, which is
very good,
way ahead of where I expected to be. And so we're trying to get something to go viral. And we want to pop off in the social media space. We're not going to do that through our recorded improv content. We're going to do that through sketch, though.
Sure.
That's my hope. But
sure.
We'll see.
There could be a total wing of the whole business that is just sketch comedy.
All online content.
Yeah.
And guess what? You can make money off of that nowadays.
Sure can.
And so, yeah, we have some sketches in the can that are written down that we just got to find time to record. And these people that I get to work with are some of the funniest people I've ever met. And they're brilliant. I mean, the way that their brains, I always talk about how people's brains work.
Yeah.
Because we all interpret things differently. And all of our brains together is like this super league of comedians. And so I do think we're going to have something pop off here in the sketch world soon. We've got a couple written down that we just need to find time. We're all very busy people, so we got to find time to sit down and record it and just do the damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well, with the intent on not making us talk for another 2 hours about this, because I'm sure we could, because so many things could be discussed about this. We'll leave that as a tease.
There you go. Episode 2. And
just a quick thought. What about merch? I want a Cartersville Improv hat or a shirt.
We've talked about that. We need money to be able to buy that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we've got about $2,000 in the bank right now. That's all the money to our name. And so if people are actually interested, we would buy it. and sell it. I just never dipped my toe into those
Sure.
waters. We
I'm-
have stickers.
Well-
I should have brought a sticker for you, but
That's okay. I won't sue you. Chris, there comes a point in every conversation I have with my guests where I ask them some questions that have nothing to do really with what we just talked about. We just spent a good hour or so talking about love for the comedy world.
yeah.
Movies, TV shows, live comedy, improv comedy, the whole 9 yards. But now I just want to know who that little introvert is over there sitting in that chair across from
great.
me. I just want to know who the hell you are, Chris.
Okay, cool.
Which also, by the way, with you being the host of these shows, you do the most talking.
Yeah.
I mean, still with them playing their games, you're doing a lot of talking, and you say you're this introvert, which is hilarious to me because you're fantastic, both hosting and here today with me. Do you just get out of those shows and want to like just shut all the windows and the doors and just crawl up in a ball and be an introvert afterwards? Is it the kind of thing where like the next day you're like, Mir, don't talk to me? I just had to be extremely extroverted. I need to like be me now.
It is. I would love to be hooked up to a monitor before and after a show, just like a body. What is my body doing?
Yeah.
Because every show I've ever been a part of, about 30 minutes before the show happens, I get really quiet. And it's like my body knows what I'm about to do, and it's like conserving battery. And then when the show starts, I want to be like a tiger that's been released from a cage and just absolutely attack the show with every ounce of my being possible. And then afterwards, I start to come down. I equate improv to doing drugs. Now, I've never done drugs, but this is what I imagine cocaine would be like. It's exhilarating. So after a show, it takes me a while to come down. My adrenaline starts to like dissipate, and eventually, I'm like, okay, it's time for me to be in a quiet room by myself. Our shows are on Saturday nights, so I usually, if Saturday Night Live is running, I will watch that to wind down. But yeah, Mare is great. Mare is an extrovert to the core, and so like. Sundays after a show, it's like really chill. Like we went to Waffle House this morning for breakfast and just had coffee, and it was just the two of us. So yeah, definitely need some recovery time. My voice is a little more gravelly than normal after a show because I do project in that small space quite a bit.
You do. All right, Chris. So what's your favorite movie?
Man, I knew you were going to ask me this. Actually, man, this is a hard question to answer. I'm going to say something that might surprise you. Might not. Blues Brothers.
Okay. That's a good one.
I think Blues Brothers is a wonderful movie that started as a sketch on SNL. Maybe that's why I love it so much. But Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, they actually sang those songs. They played in a real band, a real blues band. Like they went on tour. And I don't know that people know that. It's not just a comedy movie. Like they were living this blues life. I also really love blues music. So I'd have to say Blues Brothers.
And I know you told me, no, I'm not going to do it to you. I was going to ask you, what favorite stand-up comedians?
Okay. Now this I could talk about. If you want my all-time, I have a bucket list of comics that I've wanted to see, and I've seen all but one of them. I think he's going out on tour again, Anthony Jeselnik.
That surprises me.
I love that man.
He is so freaking funny.
I saw him last year at the Roxy. He's got a new tour coming out. I think Jeselnik is absolutely brilliant. And
his delivery, you talk about what's his name there's never been a before and there's never going to be an after. Anthony is so unique.
He's in a league of his own.
So funny, dude.
Again, not for everybody.
No.
But my goodness.
First time I saw a clip of his, I was like, I am going to send this to 10 people and I know 7 of them are going to hate it.
Yes. It's like.
But the 3 that love it.
We get it.
We get it.
We get it. I think Jeselnik is brilliant. I can't not talk about Dave Chappelle. I think he's our generation's Richard Pryor, our generation's George Carlin. I think he's tremendous.
He's brilliant. I love Dave Chappelle. Real storyteller.
Oh my gosh.
I love the way his shows work. He just gets up there and talks and tells stories. And a lot of it is very serious stuff.
Yeah.
But then he sneaks in a little joke, right? Like he'll just throw in like a right hook. And it's like, whoa, I was listening to you tell a story about where you were growing up in Ohio.
Yeah.
And then boom, punchline. And it was like, I didn't even know that was coming. I just thought I was hearing you tell a story.
100%.
But the dude sells out arenas.
Huge. And then I got to say John Mulaney.
Yeah, great.
I've seen Mulaney. I saw him at the Tabernacle a couple years ago. I think those are three excellent stand-ups, all very different.
Who hadn't you seen in that group?
Chappelle. I have not seen him yet.
Yeah, I've not either.
He's kind of a recluse. He lives up in Ohio. He does shows up there. He just announced a 6-show tour, 6-city tour, not coming anywhere close to us. Would love to see him.
Dang. Yeah, I'd love to see Chappelle, and I'd love to see Jesselnick too. That's one that
he's on tour right now. My sister is a big comedy nerd like I am, so he's going to be down in Florida, Tampa, Florida, December 5th, I believe. And so contemplating making that trip to see him, but would feel really dumb if he came to Atlanta like the next month.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking at his dates because I love that dude.
I saw him on his Bones and All tour at the Roxy, very intimate venue. We were like a couple rows back. Just a dream to see him live.
Yeah, gosh, I've gotten to see some fun comedians too. I love Jim Gaffigan. He had me hooked on the bit about McDonald's that he had, the 10-minute bit of McDonald's. That was someone shared it with me on Facebook or something. And I was like, this is so true. So I went and binged all of his stand-up specials on Netflix.
Gaffigan's a genius.
I was like, this guy's hilarious. And I love the Catholic jokes because I was raised Roman Catholic. So, and then I showed it to my parents who were also very big Catholics. And then we showed it to my grandpa, which is the most devout Catholic person of all time. Laughed his ass off.
I love it.
So it's at that moment, I was like, okay, so he's really funny. So it's because with me, I laugh at a lot of things that are really funny, but then I laugh at things that are not funny. That people are like, that's not funny. I'm like, I think it's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Because to me, if it's funny, it's funny. I don't care if it's a joke that targets something that I grew up with or something that I believe in or something I vote for. I'm going to laugh because if it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah.
But not all people think that way.
You said something at the start of this podcast about we can't take ourselves so seriously.
Yeah.
Like if you can't laugh at yourself, then my goodness, what are we doing here?
We'll talk off mic about that too. I have ideas, Chris. For days. Yeah, Jim Gaffigan was great. I saw Chris D'Elia a few years ago. Trey Kennedy, I saw him. Yeah. Wasn't obsessed with Trey Kennedy. I liked his Vine content. Throwback to Vine for those who remember Vine. He blew up on Vine, and I liked his Vine content. But seeing it in stand-up form, it wasn't my favorite thing. I still liked him. He was still awesome, but not my favorite. I like Chris D'Elia a lot.
Yeah. He had a bit of a scandal.
Had a bit of a scandal, but he's on the come up from it.
I've got a list on my phone of all the stand-ups I've seen, all the comedy shows I've seen, just so I can remember them.
Yeah, of course.
I've seen Seinfeld. That was years ago. Dimitri Martin, who is not really that big anymore. I've seen Segura. I've seen Aziz.
Segura's
I've seen Bert. I've seen Eliza Schlesinger. I've seen Nate.
Saw Nate as well.
Seen Mulaney. Just, it's all consuming for me, man.
Who did I see? Who was that other guy? Trevor Wallace. Saw him. Talk about a real like raunchy, bro-y. He was very funny. I will give him that. He was very funny. Fell out of my seat laughing a couple times at him. Very funny. Yeah, Gaffigan. God, I've seen some others, but there's Joey Avery, small comic. Saw him at a random, like you said, there's comedy everywhere. You just got to look for it.
Yeah.
Me and my friends, me and my wife and our best couple friend, we went to Charleston for a weekend a couple years ago, and there's a small like underground comedy club there, and saw a guy who coincidentally I'd been following on TikTok because he was so damn funny. And there was a show, and I was like, guys, we got to go. The tickets are like $40. Let's go. Sat in the front row. He roasted us. Great crowd work comedian. Would love to see Matt Rife. Just thinking about him. He's a great crowd work comedian. If I feel like if I did stand up, it would be crowd work. I don't know if I could do a pre-done set, but I can think if you're wearing a certain shirt or if your girlfriend looks a certain way or your boyfriend looks a certain way, I could come up with a joke about you like that. But writing material for me would be a nightmare.
You've got an improv brain. You've got a spontaneous, like quick thinking. That's the same for me. Crowd work would be my bread and butter.
Yeah. People often tell me that I let my intrusive thoughts win. Oh, Logan, you need to hold some of those comments back. I'm like, no, I think a bit on the riff and I got to get it out.
You've got an improv brain.
Well, maybe we'll try it. I'm not saying I will, but maybe we'll try it. And yeah. Comedy shows are so fun. I love a good comedy show. Chris, you're back to those questions. you get to organize a music festival.
No.
Who are your 3 headliners of this festival, Chris? They could be alive or dead.
Okay, great. My wife and I
Great. They're all dead.
my wife and I, she was just talking about someone yesterday named Zach Bryan.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Zach Bryan. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, babe, I haven't listened to any musician that's come out since like 2000. Everything I love is really old school. Definitely first band that comes to mind is Pink Floyd. That is a group that I listen to on repeat. Love some Floyd. Stevie Ray Vaughan would be on there. He's an old blues musician, died in 1990. And then the Allman Brothers. I mean, Live at Fillmore East is one of the best live albums I've ever heard. So it would be those 3 bands. Yeah, very niche again. Like,
No, good answers.
Not recent at all, but
You and your lovely wife are going out to eat, and you are looking at the appetizer menu. What are 3 appetizers that you guys, without a doubt, always go towards?
this is a fascinating question. I am Italian, so mozzarella sticks are like a good barometer of whether a place is good or not.
Who has, in Cartersville, who has good mozzarella sticks?
Okay. This is going to be a weird one, but Jefferson's.
Yeah, I like their mozzarella sticks too.
Jefferson's has surprisingly good mozzarella sticks. They're very thin and long, and not like a traditional, like, it's like a cigar that you're biting into.
Yeah.
So mozzarella sticks, I have to get pretzel bites anywhere there's like pretzel bites. And then if we're at table 20, Meredith, one of her favorite snacks is popcorn. And so she loves the popcorn at table 20.
The first time I had it, I was like, this is gross. But then we went
And then
back.
you're like, wait, this is kind of good.
Yeah. And then the last time we went, I just ate the whole thing. Like, I love popcorn too. So like, I could eat popcorn even if it tastes bad. I'm like, this is still popcorn.
There's always popcorn in our house, some form of it.
And I adore that you said pretzel bites, because I ask everyone these questions, Chris. Nobody ever says pretzels.
Really?
If there's a soft pretzel on the menu or pretzel
with
bites,
beer
I'm
cheese?
always ordering it. Always. Sometimes I'll look at the menu, I'll be like, shoot, I'll just get this as my meal.
100%.
Dude,
I love a soft pretzel.
who's got good pretzels in Cartersville? Not many people serve pretzels in Cartersville.
No.
I think Jefferson's has pretzel
has
bites.
very good pretzel bites. Mellow Mushroom has good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I
Forgot
haven't
about
eaten
that.
lunch yet, but I'm hungry. Those are the only 2 I could think of.
Yeah, I don't think many people in Cartersville do pretzel bites.
No.
Southern Cove has a soft pretzel.
Do they?
They do. They kind of like rolled it out and nobody knows about it.
Interesting.
They don't really advertise it, but they've got some kind of cooker in the back, and they have these Bavarian giant pretzels.
Oh, I got to get one then.
You do.
I'm a pretzel nut.
I went one day for whatever, I think I was dropping something off to Jason, and I saw like on their, their high top tables, they had like a little, what do you call them? Like the little acrylic stand or whatever.
Yeah.
And it said like soft pretzel, beer cheese. And I was like, you guys have these? He was like, yeah, you want me to throw one in? It'll be like 15 minutes because we like throw them in like a little mini oven or whatever. And I was like, yeah, throw it up.
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good.
Good to know.
Yep. Very good. So I love that you said pretzels. We've got one. You and Cindy Williams are the only ones that have ever said pretzel.
From the chamber?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the 3 of us should go get a pretzel.
Go get pretzel bites.
Hell yeah. Chris, you have a day of 0 responsibilities. Any obligation that you have is just lifted off your shoulders, and you get to have a day where you take care of Chris. How do you do that?
Ooh. First and foremost, I would sleep in.
What's sleeping in for you?
7 o'clock. I'm usually up 5:36.
Me
just
too, dude.
Getting stuff like sleeping in till 7:30 would be just a godsend. Nice warm cup of coffee, sitting on my back porch. And honestly, this is going to sound so stupid, like going for a walk and listening. There's a podcast I listen to every Monday called Comedy Bang Bang. Just listening, getting to listen to my people in my ears. Like, as an introvert, I don't have like a ton of friends that I talk to on the phone regularly. So like my friends, it's a parasocial relationship for sure. But like my friends on my podcast that I listen to, just getting some alone time.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
That's what it comes down to. Alone time.
Me too. Alone time. I crave it.
Yeah. I don't get much of it. So
no. Chris, what would be something that people would be surprised to know about you?
I don't know.
And I even just assume like you could even just use the improv as an example. Like I assume your full-time job doesn't know that you do it, or they know you do it, just they don't understand in the capacity or whatever?
Yeah, I don't think the people at work, they know I bring improv elements to work. I've done improv training at work for my team
Oh,
and for
fun.
other teams. Um, yeah, I think one of the things that might surprise people is that I'm a published author. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, when I was 16, I was published in Bassin magazine. No, so I guess a surprising thing about me, my undergraduate degree is in fisheries and wildlife biology. I get that look a lot. It's like it's like
I just made a look of confusion and
yeah, I was a huge fisherman growing up. I was president of the fishing club in my high school.
dang, so you were cool.
I was a huge dork. There were 3 of us. And yeah, so went to college to study fisheries and wildlife biology. I was going to be a park ranger.
I can so see that.
And then I became an RA and I was like, I really like helping people. This is what I'm supposed to do. So like the outdoors and nature is still a passion of mine. I could tell you scientific names of different animals you see running around. I'm a big dork.
Huge dork, Chris
Huge dork.
Bruno. Love that answer, though. That's really cool. And then lastly, Chris, what is your morning drive? What gets you up in the morning? What keeps you going? What makes you the best that you can be?
Well, I think it goes back to my dad. You know,
Is he still with us?
he is still with us. He's 79 in July this year. You know, he taught me at a very young age that nothing gets handed to you in life and that you got to work and grind for everything that comes your way. My family wasn't born with a silver spoon in their mouth. And so uh, my job every day, what gets me out of bed is literally getting up and hopefully doing something that makes my family's life easier at some point down the road. You know, would love to make a difference in people's lives, whether it's through comedy or the work I do 9 to 5, just finding that joy and giving back to others. That's my morning drive.
I love that. It's a great answer. So now, Chris, go ahead and as if this show hasn't been a giant commercial for Cartersville Improv, but go ahead and advertise. Tell the people how to get engaged, how to follow along, where to look for tickets, how
Yeah.
all that goes. Go ahead and advertise.
Yeah, for sure. We are only on 2 platforms right now, Instagram and Facebook. If you search Cartersville Improv on Instagram or Facebook, you'll find our profiles there. We're in the process of building our website. And by that, I mean, we've had the domain reserved since January and haven't done anything with it. So eventually, CartersvilleImprov.com will be a thing where you can learn all about our cast. Again, in terms of the larger goal here, classes will be announced there. When we have multiple troops there, we'll have tickets for sale there. But that's really it. We're pretty very early on in this process for us, but Cartersville Improv on all the things.
Sweet. Awesome. I'll make sure I plug the socials in the description below so that if people were enjoying our comedic conversation and comedy-filled conversation today, they can go down and follow along and keep up with the journey, get tickets, see a show. And even though it's called Cartersville Improv, guys from all over, come out.
Yes.
Marietta, Woodstock,
do.
Kennesaw, Atlanta, Chattanooga. Come down and see an improv show. I saw it a few weeks ago, and it was truly special. I will go ahead and gas up Chris. They've got a great team. They've got a great thing over at Noble and Maine. Shout out to Maddie and Justin again, because they do have delicious coffee and they're just good people.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys have a great thing. I can't wait to go to another show. I texted my parents 2 days ago and said, or no, I didn't text them. We were at Disney World last week and I said, hey, there's this comedy group in Cartersville you guys need to come up and see. Next time there's a date, I'll send you guys the link, or I'll just buy the tickets and you guys can come, because I think the improv thing it's just unique.
It's
because there's not a lot of it where we're at right now.
And there's really no way to describe it other than experiencing it for yourself.
Yeah, you've got to go. I've been a skeptic this whole time of like, is it that good? And then the fact that the links, they sell out very quickly. The fact that I had to get a pre-link before the link was even published to go shows you everything you need to know, that these things sell out quick. So when the link does go live, get on it.
Jump on it,
because 20 minutes go by, it could be gone.
That's true.
So yeah, I just love what you're doing, dude. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed all the insights and your journey to making Cartersville Improv what it is so far, and I can't wait to see where it goes because you guys have so much potential,
Oh, yeah.
and you've got the moon, dude. Like, I'm just excited to see where you guys go.
That's what we're shooting for.
Hell yeah. We'll get
Love it.
there.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Guys, again, Cartersville Improv socials in the description. Check them out. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate 216 for having us today, and we will see you guys next time. See ya.